But yeah, I know, guys, that news has been really slow lately, but hey, man, I'm trying. And we did a video on this before about the Capcom licensing, and throw me a bone here. I didn't talk about Fei Long. You guys can at least give me credit on that, right? I didn't fall for that trap. So Capcom has finally responded to this. This happened like last month. And basically, Capcom released a new licensing agreement that was like basically a copy and paste of giant esport games like Rocket League or League of Legends, which obviously doesn't apply for fighting games because fighting games are a different beast. Crazy things like, I don't know, taking ownership of all the footage. There was photography issues. There was issues on drinking, using alcohol in the venue. Logo issues. I mean, you name it. There's a lot of problems. The biggest one out of all of them, though, was definitely the esports licensing issue, where tournaments playing Street Fighter V reached a certain amount of prize pool or attendees. They were forced to get an esports license for an undisclosed amount of money. We don't know how much money that was, but it was enough where people said, no, we're not going to have Street Fighter V in our tournaments, and of course Street Fighter 6 in the future. So Capcom responded to this actually right away the next day, and they said they were going to change it up. So here it is. We'll see what they changed. Capcom says, recently we published the new Street Fighter V community license agreement for both the Americas and EMEA. We acknowledge that we could have handled this situation better. We want to thank our passionate fans for the feedback we received after the first version went live. We hear you. Honoring the they said grassroots, man. I can't believe they said that. It's a meme. Honoring the grassroots tradition of Street Fighter V or Street Fighter community is incredibly important to us. I'll bet it is, otherwise the CPT can't even function. To this end, we have updated the Street Fighter V community license agreement to reflect new prize pool limits, sponsorship limits, photo, video content, ownership, and more. Taking into account the feedback we received from the community while maintaining our original goal to provide no-cost license. That's good. Check the link to see a summary of the changes and a Q&A that we hope makes the rules easier to navigate, further context and insight. To the amazing community of FGC you are a highly valued part of the Street Fighter ecosystem. You allow less experienced players to both hone their craft and to enjoy fighting games on a multitude of levels. Thank you for being patient with us. Rise up. Well, they didn't say rise up. I added that, but you know what I mean. So this is like the big licensing thing we saw before. I'm not going to read all this junk. You guys get it. It's basically the same thing, just redone, but they added a Q&A section. The summary is they increased the prize pool limit from $2,000 to $10,000 per event. That's really good because like even smaller venue tournaments can have a lot of people last second at the door, and you can reach this amount of money, $10,000. And honestly, that's not too much for an esports tournament. That's really not that much money. Remove the yearly $10,000 prize pool limit. Once again, that's really good. Increase sponsorship limit from... Why does this read like patch notes? You guys notice this? Why did they write this out like we're reading like Season 5 patch notes? This is so weird. Anyways, remove the yearly $10,000 prize pool. Increase the sponsorship limit from $5,000 to $6,000 per event. Increase the sponsorship limit from 20 grand to 30 grand per year. Non-stop buffs. Buffing the sponsorship limit. This is looking good. Change spectator fee restrictions. That's a good change. Change venue restriction for bars. Here, there you go. The alcohol thing, guys. Celebration, man. We can pop the champagne, literally, now in tournaments. Remove license grant back for video, photo, content, captured events. This is another huge one. Thank goodness. People are really scared. Okay, so it looks like they addressed all the main huge concerns. These are really good changes, guys. What do you think of these patch notes so far? Interesting. So even if you do exceed, they're still willing to negotiate with you. This is very, very good. Once again, you know, Capcom they have to lean a little bit here. Otherwise, the CPT literally can't function. It is fueled and powered by the community. It's not something that Capcom runs by themselves. You know what I'm saying? That's just the way FGC is. With Street Fighter 6 on the horizon, they pretty much have no choice. We know Combo Breaker also has Street Fighter 5, which is a really good sign that they came to some kind of agreement. Honestly, this is just a situation that was really bad, but it could have been easily avoided, right? Is Matcherino part of the prize pool or sponsorships? In case you guys don't know what Matcherino is, it's basically a way for people to donate to the prize pool to pay our players digitally online, which is really good, right? So it allows the entire community to participate. We get great streams. and the players get good prize pools, and everybody wins, right? It's just a really good platform, and to fairly make sure these players get paid for competing, and it allows everyone like you and me publicly to compete as well, as long as you live in the area. So it says, if Matcherino or another crowdfunding platform is used to fund the prize pool, the funding will be counted toward the prize pool limitations. If you're unable to cap the prize pool funding and expect to exceed the community license thresholds, contact Esports and we'll review. Okay, so this is one thing that we didn't know is like, does Matcherino count for this? It looks like it does, but Capcom is still willing to negotiate if you exceed the prize pools. And I think a lot of the Matcherinos will, because the Matcherino has been quite successful for many different Rambats, and it's going to be used in the future for sure. If I hire a photographer or videographer to capture content for an event, do I need to hand that content over to Capcom? Are we at gunpoint? No. Period. Full stop. That content will be bound by the agreement between you and the talent you hire. There may be times that we see footage from an event that we think would look great on an official promotional materials. If that happens, we'll reach out to you to secure usage permission. Very, very fair. I'm sure a lot of people are happy about that. This was very scary because tournament organizers who pay a lot of money for photographers and high production to advertise their events, they're basically doing free advertising for Capcom. It would be absolutely ridiculous if Capcom also was able to claim that footage. How much does the commercial esports licensing cost? How much does it cost? If you wish to host esports events which may exceed the scope of the no-cost community license, Capcom will take various factors into consideration deciding whether to grant a commercial esports license. This includes, but is not limited to, the total price pool, total sponsorships, brand partnerships, spectator fees, and broadcasting platforms. Depending on the scale of the event, the license may require a fee, revenue share, and space or combination. Continue esports at Capcom.com. We will review your event and license requirements on a one-to-one basis. Damn, they're not disclosing how much money it is. I want to know how much dinero is involved in this, but it looks like it depends, right? If you're sponsored by Intel or Nvidia, I'm sure it's going to be a lot of moolah, right? Everyone's going to want it cut. So I can charge spectator fees for my event. Yes, as long as those fees are used to offset event costs. Ooh, there's a little gray area here. Interesting. So yeah, before this was another huge concern that tournament organizers weren't allowed to charge spectator fees. And what counts as a spectator fee, right? What if someone comes in and they play on the free stations? Does they count as a spectator? Something like that. But Capcom says yes, as long as those fees are used to offset event cost. How are they going to be able to prove that? This sounds like a sketchy gray area, but nonetheless, it's fine. Can I run my event at a bar? For the most part, yes, as long as you do not own the bar establishment and the event is not sponsored by any prohibited brands, including alcohol brands outlined in section 4. Damn, dude. Not sponsored by Bacardi? I run a weekly event with Street Fighter V. Does this mean I have to submit my event details and accept the Street Fighter V community license agreement every week? For weekly events like this, accepting the community license once per 12-month period is okay. In the additional notes part of the submission form, let us know the frequency of your event. Okay, so this is just basically workload, making it not annoying to have to do a weekly and constantly have to submit it to Capcom. That's fine. So that's like on a one-year basis. Does the Street Fighter V community license agreement apply to other games within the Street Fighter series? At this time, the community license agreement only covers the Street Fighter V series, including and then all the expansions of Street Fighter V. But I mean, come on, let's be real. Street Fighter 6 is going to be included in this next year. Is the Street Fighter V community license agreement now set in stone, or will it change? Capcom will continue to monitor community feedback to make sure the license agreement is functioning as intended and not hindering TOs from the community events. Nice. So they can lean even more. So basically, guys, the summary of this is that pretty much every single main issue that we talked about and we wrote about before has been addressed. Capcom is leaning a lot for all of this. This is really good news, and it pretty much just means we don't have to worry about Street Fighter 6 tournaments in the future. And I'm sure Capcom's going to build a better relationship with TOs, and we'll have new TOs. And no one's like, everyone's on the same page, basically. So, yeah.